Everyone talks about research, but very few actually know what it means. So the word is everywhere. You hear it in the news reports, you see it in the ads, find it in political campaigns, and read it in academic papers. Research shows, according to research, new research proves. Phrases like these are thrown around so often that we rarely stop to ask, what research are they really talking about? But here's the thing, just because someone uses the word, it doesn't mean they're actually doing research in the real sense of the word. And that's what today's session is all about, cutting through the noise and understanding what real research actually means. But first, let's talk about what isn't research, because this is where most of the confusion begins. Many everyday uses of the word have nothing to do with actual research. And once you see these patterns, you'll notice them everywhere. The first common misuse is research is just collecting facts or information with no clear purpose. Now, reading a few articles or watching a couple of YouTube videos, that doesn't make it research, especially if there's no guiding question or reason behind it. For example, if a student reads 5 articles on a topic, takes notes, and doesn't have a direction or a purpose, it's just passive reading. It's not research. The second is when people reassemble or reorder information without interpreting it. So they might take bits of information from different sources and put them together in a report. But if there's no analysis, no explanation, no interpretation, then it's not research. It's just a collage of information. Third, and this one is often overlooked, that research is treated as an activity with little or no relevance to everyday life. You'll hear this a lot that, oh, that's just theoretical, or it doesn't apply to the real world. But meaningful research is deeply connected to the world that we live in. And finally, the word research is often used to give weight or to a product or an idea. So in advertising, for instance, you might hear research shows that our product works 10 times better than the competition. But if you look closer, you'll find there's often no real explanation of what was the research or how it was done. So it's more about marketing than investigation. So these examples are everywhere. And while they may look or sound like research on the surface, they don't meet the actual standards of what research truly is. Now, the question is, what is real research then? So let's flip what we just discussed. If it's not research when it's not systematic, then real research must be systematic. It should follow a clear and logical process. If there's no clear purpose, then real research must be purpose driven. There has to be a question you're trying to answer or a problem that you're trying to explore. If there's no interpretation or meaning, then real research must include analysis and explanation. It's not enough just to present an idea, you need to make sense of it. And finally, if there's no relevance or transparency, then research must be connected to the real world issues and it must be open about its methods and limitations as well. So, in short, real research is structured, intentional, thoughtful, and meaningful. And it's not just about collecting data, it's about discovering understanding. So now we arrive at a more precise definition of research, one that would separate it from casual information gathering. So a research is a process that is undertaken in a systematic way with a clear purpose to find things out. Now, uh, this definition has two important parts, and they're highlighted in red. So let's talk about what it really means when we say research is done in a systematic way. This isn't just about being organized. It means that research follows a logical method that each step connects with the next with a proper intention. You just don't jump from one idea to another randomly. You start with a clear question or an objective, then you decide what kind of data you need, how are you going to collect it, how are you going to analyze it, and it's all based on a structured plan. It's the opposite of working on assumptions or feelings. So, a systematic approach means you're not just relying on belief, you're working through a clearly defined process that others can also follow, test, or even repeat. That is what gives research its credibility. It's not just about a personal opinion, it's about a process. Now let's focus on the second part of the definition, that was to find things out. Now, this is what gives research its direction. It's not just an activity for the sake of activity. There's a specific goal behind it, something you want to understand, prove, explain, or explore. And that purpose could be anything like describing a phenomena, analyzing a situation, challenging an assumption, solving a real world problem. But the key here is that you are actively and actually seeking answers. Research by nature is a temporary process. It's meant to lead to a conclusion. You can't just keep collecting data forever. At some point, you stop and say, "Here's what I found. Here's what it means." So when we talk about research being done to find things out, we are saying it's always guided by a clear focus intention. It's not just curiosity, but there's a purpose to it. So now let's look at the kinds of purpose research can serve. And these aren't just academic words; they represent the core reasons what behind most research projects. You might be conducting research to describe a situation. For example, documenting how students use social media during exams, or to explain why something happens, like why some marketing campaigns work better than the others. Sometimes the aim is to understand, getting a deeper grasp of complex human behaviors, cultural norms, or social patterns. Research can also be done to critically evaluate, to question something, to question the existing system, theories, or assumptions. And finally, you might be looking to analyze. You might want to break something down into parts to see how it works or what it means. So these purposes, they guide research questions, your methods, and how you interpret your results. Without a clear purpose, research loses its focus and impact. So make sure the next time you call something research, it actually has a clear purpose, follows a proper process, and leads to meaningful insights. So don't just use the word, understand what it means.